Hey, I'm Jeff Kleinman. I'm the editor of BevNet, BevNet.com, and BevNet Magazine, and BevNet branded products. Um, I really appreciate all y'all coming out here. I think it's kind of brave to try and start something new that isn't a high-tech business in this economy, and it's one of the things that's been exciting about covering this area is that people don't stop drinking, and they don't stop looking for interesting, exciting things to drink. And for some reason, I think it's just, the act of swallowing it maybe, but people feel really attached to their beverages. Um, our program is going to take you from that sort of dream of creating something through its formulation, through the things you're not supposed to do and have to get right, on into getting it to market, handling the kinds of stores that you're going to deal with, getting the word out through social media and other channels, getting that kind of growth capital you need to continue to make progress in the world, and finally getting the kind of advice and adding the kinds of people that you need to really make an impact at retail and eventually have a sustainable business. It's not easy. There are guys here from Greater Than who've been plugging away for 4 years now, just under 3. Yeah, and they have an employee now, and we're glad to see him. But they have also done a lot of things really right in terms of just marketing on the street, getting out there every day, hitting the stores, trying to build up locally. And that's one playbook that you're going to see, is that you want to build out, you want to start small and get provable numbers. Now that said, we're not going to claim that we own the only playbook, but we're hoping that you'll be able to benefit from the experience of people who've run a lot of plays in the industry. One guy who really loves to play in that industry is Eric Schnell from MetaBrand. He was the founder of Steaz, which is a very good tea-based carbonated soft drink. But beyond that, he's found himself as a real energetic presence in the beverage industry, a person who wants to share what it's like in that first year as a beverage entrepreneur. Since leaving Steaz, he's worked with a bunch of companies and has recently founded a network called MetaBrand, which is a one-stop shop for everything from formulation to shelf. And he's here to talk about what it means to be a beverage entrepreneur, what kind of decisions you're going to have to make in that first year when you're out with your product, with your dream in a bottle. So if you guys would help me welcome Eric Schnell, the founder of MetaBrand.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Hey guys, can you hear me okay? Mic working? Very excited to be here. It's a great opportunity to share my experiences with some great folks like you all in the Midwest, and do as much as I can in probably a short 30 minutes to inspire you, share some learnings, some successes, some failures, and give you a little bit of inspiration on what it's like to put yourself in the mindset of being a beverage entrepreneur that's about to potentially go change the world. Because I think in the beverage business, 15 years I've been in it, I've actually watched probably 5 or 6 companies, starting with Vitamin Water, who John mentioned, and before that Snapple, actually go out and truthfully change the world for the better. And where else can you find an industry that with just a few $1,000s and a dream and no experience, you could potentially have $1 billion company within 10 years? It's incredible. This industry is incredible. It's full of great people. It's very exciting. It starts with a lot of passion though, and most of the successful beverage entrepreneurs I've met have had a ton of love for their brand and their beverages and their company and their people that work for them. So I think overall, getting into this business, start with a goal in mind that is one that's going to inspire and change the world. Don't start with a product. I mean, obviously you've got to have a product, you've got to have a great idea, but build a company and set out with that mindset. I only have a few slides because I really just wanted to talk to you guys. There's not enough time to. Okay, great. So who am I? Who I am. So I think in the beverage business and probably similar in other food industries, you are your brand. I mean, there's that saying out there that you are the company you keep. You are the brand you create in this industry. And for those of you in the room that saw a big raise of hands, are new entrepreneurs, or getting into the business, or first year in, or like these guys right here, third year in, you become your company. Your company is you. It's one and the same. And you've got to be able to make that commitment and see that vision early on that you are going to be the leader of the next great company in this industry and go out there with that passion. I am Long Life Tea. I am Steaz. I am Enlightened Nutrition, which is a brand I founded 2.5 years ago, which is now a leading shot line sold in Whole Foods markets nationally. And as Jeff mentioned with MetaBrand, I so much love year one. I've been in it obviously 4 times in 15 years. I can't get out of year one. It's the most exciting place to be in the beverage industry. Throughout my years, I've spoken to many beverage entrepreneurs and many experts in the industry, having drinks at a bar or hanging at a trade show. Everybody remembers pretty much 2 things in their life cycle. Year one, and the stories and the trials and tribulations that go into year one, and the year they exit. All those years in between, we're all doing the same thing. We're hustling, we're growing, we're building our businesses, but you don't talk about that at the end. You talk about year one. Year one is critical. It's the year that you guys are going out there and actually changing the world for the better, hopefully. So I can't stress enough how much I love the industry. It's why I'm still in it. It's why I live in year one with MetaBrand. I will tell you, for those of you who don't know or you haven't felt it on BevNet, seeing all the new products launching, there's no plethora right now. There's no shortage right now of new beverages launching and new entrepreneurs coming into the business. We get 1 to 3 calls a day right now from entrepreneurs with great ideas, some not so great, that ask us to help create their products. You would not know there's any problem in the economy right now at all, or any shortage of money out there, because this business is robust for new brands right now coming in. If you've got a great idea, something that's on trend, hopefully it's going to make a difference, you'll find yourself potentially received well in places like Whole Foods that are hunting, Costco now, Target, hunting for new and innovative healthy products. So it's a time that's very interesting in the beverage business, where before, if you're launching a certain type of product, you may have to go to a certain type of channel, 7-Eleven maybe because it's a mainstream product, or if it's a natural product, just to Whole Foods first. Now you can circumvent potentially 1 or 2 of those channels and be everywhere at once, because everyone's looking at the health and wellness trends of this industry, and bigger box retailers are giving young brands a chance to get in. So again, I can't tell how much I love year one. I hope you guys love it too, because if you don't, you shouldn't be in year one. Sorry. It's a tough press. I think we're a little stuck, guys. Can you change it over there? Yeah, it's not. All right, great. 7, lucky number 7 for me anyway, that's why I put down 7. These are just 7 key business decisions that I think you guys should all be thinking about and hopefully answering if you're new to the beverage space. If you're already in your 2nd or 3rd or 4th year, a lot of these have already been figured out. But for the new people getting into this space, these are very important decisions. There's a lot of other ones. We could spend an hour on each one. I wish I had the time to talk about that and go through these, but this is what we do when we consult and mentor outside of the show. So let's just go through these, and I'll maybe just give it a little bit of color in each one. Is your beverage unique to the marketplace? So unless right now you've got the FDA allowing you to put Viagra or acetaminophen or cannabis in your shot or energy drink or iced tea, I probably would just not launch another shot or energy drink or iced tea. You've got to have some compelling reason right now to get into the space in beverage and make a difference and attract retailer commitments and attract distributors and build a company. So we all know the Me Too stories. We all know probably the percentages in this industry. People will tell you 8 out of 10 brands failed their first year, and we do see that as pretty much a real number, and usually 8 out of 10 of those are gone by the end of their 2nd year. It's oftentimes because they didn't have something unique, although they believed it was, but it really wasn't relevant and it was last in the category. So I just would challenge you all, whatever the dream is, the idea, I'm not a dream stomper, just make sure it's unique and make sure it's different and make sure you're building it as a platform for a company, not just a product that's going to go to market. How much money are you willing to put in of your own? We get this question every day. We get entrepreneurs call us as small as an employee in Whole Foods Market called a couple of months ago saying he saved up $4,000 in his IRA account. Can you give it to us to create a beverage? And as big as we've got one client right now that's willing to spend whatever the $100,000 number is to get his marketing right. You've really got to think though in the beginning, are you going to be able to fund this? How much of your own capital you're willing to put in? The number that I generally tell folks when they're coming to us saying, what's it going to cost to do formulation, plus some trademarking, plus, get my company established, with the LLC or whatever the corporation is, and plus put my marketing together, the logo, the packaging, and then have really out all finished, ready to go to production run, that number is generally around $50,000. And it's generally funded by the entrepreneurs or their families themselves. And like you guys, most of the folks we deal with, including myself when I started, we had a dream, we created it in the kitchen, and then that was as far as we got, and we had some money saved, and then we hired or went to and retained a flavor house or a formulation lab, which was the first step on this process. So just thinking about how much money you're willing to put into your own, I told the gentleman from Whole Foods, just save your money and wait till someday things maybe change for you financially, because I wouldn't want to see somebody risk the only couple $1,000s they have in savings to get into this business. Because in my years, it's 15 years now, I've raised over $20 million. Friends, family, angels, VCs, private equity, I've been through it all. But you got to start that thinking initially on your own, how much can you put in? Mentors and professional consultants. This is huge right now. I think it's why we're all here. It's a huge thing to talk about, and it's a huge benefit that you guys in the room that are launching new companies have great mentors and consultants that are out there right now. When I got in the industry, 98, there was really you couldn't just go on the internet and find consultants and beverage experts. You'd have to go to trade shows and maybe get lucky and get someone to talk to you. There's a gentleman in the audience, Brad Barnhorn, who's going to speak later on. He was my first mentor, really, because when I went out for my first fundraise at Steaz in 2003, I had really no clue how to talk about investment or raise money and deal with the business plan. I actually was so nervous that I didn't even think it made sense to let someone be an equity partner in my company other than my partner and I. So Brad really helped us coach and mentor me to get over the fact that, oh my God, we're gonna give up equity and we're gonna have a partner. What if this partner is evil and wants to steal our company? And so there's a lot of good advice, a lot of good mentoring, whether you've got good business mentors in your network yourself, or there's professional consultants. Thank God for BevNet and companies like BevNet that are now showcasing folks like us that can help you guys. I can't tell you there's the good side, obviously, what you'll learn from success stories, but a good professional consultant will save you guys potentially a ton of money making mistakes that we've all made. And those of us, including Brad and other folks, have owned our own beverage companies. I've made ridiculous mistakes, lost hundreds of thousands of dollars doing stupid radio ads and marketing programs that I never should have done, that I was premature on, launching DSD distributors that I never should have launched because I was too young and immature in the business and our product wasn't ready for live prime time yet. So there's that kind of insight and intel you'll get from a good professional consultant. So I can't speak highly enough about that. Trademark approved. So this is just something to think about, and I'm sure maybe Justin and other folks on the legal side will talk to you about this later today, but I made a big mistake when I got into the business year one. I didn't have my trademark, but I was such in a rush to launch my brand, it was called Steep, S-T-E-A-P, that I just went to market and figured, I'm not gonna have a problem. Well, 6 months later, they wouldn't give me the trademark because the name was too generic. It's how you brew tea. So I had to change 6 months in. It was an $80,000 hit to me personally. Our entire packaging, our name from Steep to Steaz. I don't know if anybody really remembers this, but that was our big year one learning. You guys are all gonna have most likely some mistake, some year one learning that's gonna be expensive, and you'll get a mini MBA when you come out of it because you'll have learned, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that, and now I'll never do it again. And I'm just telling you guys, the first year, it is a freaking roller coaster ride. You're gonna have ups, you're gonna have downs, you're gonna have mistakes, and you're gonna have wins. You'll have hopefully a lot more wins than mistakes, but just be prepared. Again, going back to mentors and consultants, they can help you avoid some of those pitfalls. By the way, one thing on that, I just wanna chime in. There's a black hole in the P&Ls of everybody's beverage business that I look at generally. So I'm an operating partner in a private equity fund, and we invest in beverages. I see probably 100 deals a year on food too. Most entrepreneurs getting into this business do not think about freight as a line item in their P&L and properly budget for it. I'm telling you guys, one of the biggest reasons companies lose money is their first couple of years in this industry is because they haven't figured out that black hole in the middle of the P&L that sucks all the money out. So you may have a great year, $1 million in revenue, but you lost 300,000. You can go through everything, but I'm telling you, I've been through this 15 years. That big line item that sticks out in your P&L is your operations, your supply chain, and your freight. So really think smartly about that. You shouldn't be producing product in California if you're based in New York and that's your beachhead market. But I've read business plans where that's what they're doing, and they don't realize it's $2,500 to ship a truck across the country. And as the business scales, they're all of a sudden out of money because of that. So just putting it out there, it's a big learning. Did you get a distributor to review the product or commit? So I've got a couple brands right now that don't listen, really, and they went to production with no distributor. Never had gotten in front of a distributor, but put up $40,000 in product, and then they're gonna go start selling after the product's made, because they felt like they couldn't go to a distributor prior with packaging kind of done and a sell sheet kind of made. They just didn't want to do it. And then now they're sitting 60, 90, 100 days later on inventory getting old, on cash being tied up, and it's already summertime. And then distributors don't usually want to talk to you right around now because they've already made their commitments for the summer. So this was stressed to you. I've made it a best practice, this my own self, for 15 years. I've never launched any of my products, and I've probably launched in the 3 companies over 100 SKUs. I've never launched a SKU without a distributor commitment. That's my own best practice. That's just me. If you have tons of money behind you, maybe it's different, but I always believed in having an order or some commitment, so when production was complete, products going out the door, into a distributor truck, into a warehouse, then going right to a store. That's advice I really believe in. I think it's really helpful to you guys. Okay, how much money should you raise for year one? This is like the other biggest question I get asked when we're first consulting with new beverage companies. How much money? It all depends on the strategy and the geography. So there's kind of 2 ways to look at it. Again, I'm going quick. I wish I had more time. Are you going national, and it's like a Whole Foods national launch and United Natural Foods, and it's a one-channel strategy, kind of really wide and thin? Okay, so that's probably about $2 million. If you're going just regional in your backyard, Chicago, Manhattan, San Fran, I've seen all these stories, I've read all these business plans, and you want to go multi-channel to prove out the brand, which is a great idea too. It's how Vitamin Water started. They built New York Metro, owned every single class of trade, food service, DSD, college, university. They owned every class of trade, bodega, C-store. When they got their company to the umpteen millions, then they went to California and built out the West Coast. And that was a great model for them. Snapple did the same thing. If you're in the natural category, and by the way, so just let me back up. That model's probably around $250,000. So the brands that I'm counseling now that are launching in major cities, about $250,000 gives you enough to get through 3 production runs worth generally of inventory money, and then the rest spent on marketing and the sales staff. So it's a rule of thumb. You could go more. I would recommend, if you're just doing a single market, probably start with $500,000. The worst thing is you have maybe more success than you expected 6 to 8 months into year one, and you actually need more money for production, but you haven't raised the proper amount. And then all of a sudden, as the business owner, you're scrambling to go back and raise money, and it becomes a full-time job, and you probably get punished too if you're going back to your investors, because they're going to take advantage of you oftentimes if they're not your friends and family. So I would just say, going into the business, think about it from the perspective of give yourself enough to get through I call year 1 year 18 months. That's what I always call it, 18 months. Think about 18 months of money in the bank. So whatever that number is. But I wouldn't start with just 50,000 and then go launch your product, because then you'll find you'll most likely will be out of money. Do you sell cases on your own or build a sales team? So another great question. So we get this asked all the time. It's the top 5 questions. How do you architect a sales strategy that makes sense? Okay, so if you're doing the national Whole Foods, the national UNFI, natural channel, there's great outsourced broker groups that you could work with that for a fraction of the cost of having your own employee, you could just give commissions to or some sort of retainer. They're only as good as you manage them, though, brokers, so that's another best practice, just to realize when you hire a sales broker group, if they're not your employee, they're kind of a necessary evil if you want entrance into big box stores, because they have those meetings every month set up with the buyers, but they're only as good as you're going to manage them. So if you're not managing your brokers and owning them, don't expect a lot after the kickoff to happen magically. Or build your own sales team. So we've got clients right now that are each starting with a couple $1 million in the bank from their investors, and those are fun projects to work on, because then we get to architect some great sales folks out there to come on full time and build the brand. We started Steaz. I guess Steaz maybe today a $15 million company this year, hopefully. We started with just outsourced sales brokers. We couldn't afford full-time employees until we raised our first funding in year 2. But it was a full-time job for my partner and I to manage this national network of 200 sales reps. But we got enough action and enough going on that we then were able to raise money, and then we hired our own sales team, and at one point we had, in 2009, 38 employees with 7 regional managers, our own merchandising team, and like Zico and Vitamin Water and all these other companies we could look at as best examples. Your own sales team eventually is who's going to build your brand. But the brokers are part of the model. Again, I wish I had more time to go through the 7, so I apologize. All right. Whoop. My favorite part. Okay. Passion, love, excitement. Honestly, These have to be the recipes that you guys are thinking about as you're dreaming about like what you're going to become in this business. So just two quick things first. You can either be an entrepreneur that gets into the beverage game from the marketing perspective, and you're a slick marketer and you've got some marketing idea, or you're authentic as an entrepreneur. You actually have a real reason of why you launched your company. A family member died of cancer. You were a passionate kid growing up like me, eating organic and vegetarian, and believed in changing the world through better values. Whatever the thing is that gets you into this industry, and hopefully most of you are getting into the healthy side of it here today because that's where the trend is, that becomes who you are. So I've always found the most successful entrepreneurs, whether it's Seth at Honesty and my friends over at Zico and Guayaki and Sambazon, we're kind of all like in the same boat. We all actually came in authentically to change the world and make a difference. And I've seen all these buddies of mine in the past 15 years grow their companies to 10, 20, 50 million, 100 million exit. But we all collectively shared that same thing. The guys that got into the business and the girls that got into the business and beverage that I've seen the past 15 years that were just slick marketing people that were trying to sell an idea, they never built a company. They never really built a brand successfully because it wasn't authentic. So I just want to put it out there. Authenticity comes from you, comes from your passion. It's what builds a company. We're not here to launch products, we're here to build beverage companies. 7 keys to manifesting your dream. How much time do I have? Like 5 minutes? 10? Ooh, we can do a little question and answer? All right, 7 keys to manifesting your dream. I know this is not really part of like beverage school, but I just want to share this with you because honestly, think about like the position you're in for the people in this room that are launching your beverage company. You've got an idea in your head, and that idea has to be translated into a fully functioning company that's going to be a living entity, because basically that's what a company is. First, these are my steps. They always work for me, and that's why I'm on my 4th company right now, and that's why I'm able to continue to stay in this business 15 years and have made a great, in fact, a phenomenal living being a beverage entrepreneur. I haven't exited yet. None of my companies have really sold or have cashed out for millions of dollars yet. 1 or 2 may, but I've made a great living, a fantastic living, and had tons of fun. But it starts with vision. Whatever the ideas you guys have, you have got to have a burning vision that you hold in your mind of what this thing, this idea is going to become, call it a decade from now. You almost got to really just see that picture and hold on to it. It's got to be burning though. It can't be like wishy-washy, I'm going to launch a beverage company, I think it's going to be this, it's not. You've got to finally own the vision, whatever it is you come up with at the end of the day. You've got to have a burning, overwhelming desire to actually want to take that vision and become a beverage entrepreneur, because this is not for everybody, this game. It's an extremely tough industry. We know the numbers. Most people don't have the big success and liquidity events, but you've got to have that desire to then take that vision and turn it into a reality. The belief, this is a big one people forget. Like, you know, people have vision, they've got desire, but they don't believe in themselves that their beverage concept or their company they're going to create is really going to be a viable concept. They're like stuck in, well, will it work? Can it work? I'm not sure. And I've got clients like that now that are in this belief stage of not really believing if they could do it. You've got to own it. You've got to believe it. It's got to be part of every little bit of the DNA in your body that you believe this company is going to be what your vision is. I can tell you examples of that same 3 things with all the other companies that I've known the entrepreneurs on that have been successful. They've all got those first 3 things. But then, it's not enough just to have vision and desire and belief. You've got to completely accept that going into the beverage business and becoming a beverage entrepreneur is what you're going to do. It's not like I'm going to go work still in my job, and on the weekends I'm going to sell cases out of my car and see what happens, and you know, I'm all day long at work saying I'm one thing, but then at nighttime I'm a beverage entrepreneur. I've just never seen that ever work out for people. And I know people have to stay in their jobs and they have to do what they've got to do while they're launching, but my suggestion is totally 100% own being a beverage entrepreneur, own that this is what you're going to do at least for the next year, and accept it. And then once those 4 things are done, that's like the setup. Intention. You've got to intend that all that you dreamt up and you believe in, you accept, and your vision, you've got to then intend for it to happen. You've got to actually make that commitment that I'm going to be a beverage entrepreneur. And what's the next step? Maybe it's calling John Craven and Jeff Kleiman at BevNet saying, I want to tell you about my idea. I'm intending to launch it. You got to start the energy, talking about it. Call folks like us and the other consultants that are here today and entrepreneurs that are going to be speaking, and start to talk about it. Start to act like it's going to happen. Then it's the action. Once that's done, if there's not the action, obviously nothing happens. That is the action of, I'm resigning from my job today, and tomorrow I'm waking up as XYZ, whatever it is, Darius Bickoff from Vitamin Water, Seth Goldman from Honest Tea, whatever your names are, plus your brand, you are taking action. You have to take the action that your entire life is going to change, like literally. Like it's like the craziest concept. All of us, including myself, have had probably corporate jobs or real jobs before we were beverage entrepreneurs. You don't grow up a beverage entrepreneur. You don't start it at 18. You don't do it the day after college. You usually have a career first, then you go into it. That action is huge because you're waking up one day and all of a sudden your entire world changes. You are Eric Schnell, the owner of MetaBrand. And then all your conversations are going to be like that. And that's what you become. That's when you are the brand you become. It's huge. But the last thing is, and everything else doesn't work without this, and again, this is just based on my experience, 15 years, it's my story. I've made a great living. I've seen other people make great livings. It's all about the allowance. You then just have to let it go. You have to let it go, and you have to sit there and say to the universe, it's all in your hands now. I'm not going to figure out all the steps along the next 10 years till I sell to Coke or till I build the next whatever it is. I'm going to just allow it to happen. And I'm going to go now do my job as a beverage entrepreneur and focus on my dream. And that to me is the most important thing at the end, just allow it and let go and go do it. Things usually work out synchronistically in this industry for most people that have those 7 steps that I've seen. So that's me, guys. Love the business, and I'd love to talk to anyone that wants to talk to me after this, and proud to be here and proud to be part of this industry.